Hello, everybody, and welcome to another daring, exciting, fun-filled, expeditious episode of Radiorama, where, as the name implies, I show you how to work on radios. But what's this? It's not a radio. It's a record player, and I ordinarily don't work on record players, but I went to a yard sale down the street, not expecting to find anything, because there's usually nothing at yard sales that I'm interested in anymore. And then this little Webcor Melody record player. It's about as basic as they come. I have to kind of make a little bit of a confession. I've already taken it apart because I couldn't help but wonder what was inside. It is a one-tube record player. It has a little tiny 4.5-inch speaker. So this is probably either a kid's record or what I would call a sock hop record player. You could take it to a party. And if your guests did not care about high fidelity one iota, then this will be the perfect thing for you. Now, I've had one or two people say, you should just plug it in immediately and let it go. I was like, okay, well, sure. There we go. It's on. And no turning on the record player. I can hear the motor going, but obviously the friction wheel's shot. Let's see if we got any sound. That's volume. Actually, it seems like it actually works. We got a mechanical problem here. It's not turning. So I'm going to pop the platter off and see what's going on. Probably there's a rock hard friction wheel I'm going to find. Alright, so here's the underside. The way that you remove the platter on these guys, you have to pull a little C-clip underneath. And look at how dinky this is. I will say this, before I start working on the electronics, I'm going to take it outside and use a wet rag to remove all of that oxide. Because that's probably cadmium oxide, and you really don't want to inhale the stuff, so I just remove it with a damp rag. In fact, I'm going to do that before I start working on it, period. I feel better about it. Okay, so I found the culprit, which is what I expected. Friction wheel is pretty hard. It's interesting, it doesn't seem like there's any wear on this. I don't think it was used that much. Could explain why, at least electronically, it's still working, but this is no good. I might be able to rough it up a little bit. Sometimes if you take them off and get them in hot water, I find sometimes they rejuvenate just a little bit, but not always. Alright, well, I took the friction wheel off and cleaned it, sanded it down a little bit. I'm going to get a little oil on the motor bearing, even though it seems like it's okay. In fact, it seems like the mechanism's pretty clean. There's not much going on here. Certainly not near as bad as a record changer. Alright, that all moves very nicely. It's not like this is a fine machine, but, you know, I want it to work smoothly. So let me put that friction wheel back on there, see if I can make some adjustments, get it to work. I can tell by your jaw. Well, whatever I did must have freed that up, because now it works fine as far as spinning. And incidentally, the record player seems to work. I think the needle needs to be replaced, but that's not a big deal. Come on, get off there. Ugh. That is a not very pleasant sound quality, but it is what it is. It's a little 4-inch speaker. What can you get out of it? Alright, well, it turns out that stupid me, this is one of those flipper needles, and I had it on 78, which is real great for, you know, your LPs, you know. Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't feel comfortable with it going out the door with the original electrolytic capacitors in there, so I am going to overhaul a little bitty chassis, and then I will clean up the case. There's probably like 3 parts in there. Alright, to remove the little chassis, we're going to remove these bolts. That's all it's holding on there. I disconnected the speaker leads. I'm going to leave the record player lead attached because it's nice and long, as with the motor mount. This thing is like the epitome of cheapness. Everything is like held in with these little skimpy things. I don't know how to describe it. It's really cheap manufacturing, but this is probably a cheap record player. I don't have any of these tubes sitting around. It's a 25 something or another. I'm not familiar with it, so I'm going to take it out for safekeeping while I work on the chassis. All right, well, the chassis is out, and man, this Dinky. It looks like the chassis is, the bottom is held in with these little pop rivety things. Is that it? That's really all that's holding that bottom on? I hope so. Hope it's not like stamped together. Let me pop these guys out. Hopefully they won't go flying across the garage. Alright, that's all it took to get the bottom off. And we see we have a selenium rectifier, 2 paper caps, and 3 electrolytics. It looks like this is the 2 ground cap, 0.047. That's okay, but I'm going to replace it with a 0.01 rated safety cap. Let's see, where's the ground of this thing? Yeah, it's coming off of, ground is coming off the bottom of that switch there, and that switch goes through that cap that goes to chassis ground. Okay. So we need to replace that puppy. Very little room to work in here. I'm going to be creative with replacing my capacitors. Alright, well, that was tight work in there, but I got it all to fit in there. Here's our 3 electrolytic capacitors and our 2 caps and our safety cap going to chassis ground. I'm going to do a little bit of oiling around this guy and clean the pots here. Not much going on here. Very, very basic. I did this in like 15 minutes. Alright, well, that's sounding pretty good now. 0 hum. Now what I want to do is clean the cabinet up a little bit and put the screws back in. And I think she will be done. Very easy to work on this guy. Alright, so I cleaned it up. I used a little spit shine on the case. And let's put a record on it. Man, my records are messed up out here. I need to quit not putting them in the sleeves. Alright, here we go. That's supposed to be Hawaiian music. Sounds like church music. Hula Records. That is not the liveliest thing I've ever heard. It seems inappropriate. I should get a 50s record if I have any left around here.
From now on, it's a thrill.
Alright, so you're not gonna like impress the neighbors. You're not gonna come over saying, that's amazing how that sounds, that amazing fidelity. But whatever, you know, it is what it is. It's a little sock hop record player. Or a kid's record, I don't know. Kid's record player. Anyway, guys, I know this was kind of a short episode because there wasn't much going on with this thing compared to what I usually work on. But I figured, why not? Let's make a record player video. Thanks so much for watching. Until the next time something comes across my workbench, I'll see you guys next time. Adios.